Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 7 o'clock main news. In tonight's headlines, His Highness the Emir receives the GCC Secretary General, who briefed him on the topics on the agenda of the forthcoming GCC summit. A joint meeting between the government and Parliament discussed the impact of the drop in oil prices on the state budget. Syrian government warplanes carry out at least 8 strikes against the IS militant group attacking a key military airbase in eastern Syria. And Typhoon Hagupit knocks out power, leaving at least 3 people dead and sending nearly 900,000 into shelters. His Highness the Emir, Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah, received at Sif Palace this morning His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Nawaf Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah. His Highness the Emir then received His Excellency the National Assembly Speaker Marzouk Ali Al Ghanem. His Highness later received His Highness Sheikh Jaber Al Mbarak Al Hamad Al Sabah, the Prime Minister. His Highness the Emir then received His Excellency the First Deputy Premier and Minister of Foreign Affairs Sheikh Sabah Al Khalid Al Hamad Al Sabah. Finally, His Highness the Emir received at Sif Palace at noon today the Chairman of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry Ali Mohammed Thnayan Al Ghanem. His Highness the Emir, Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah, received at Sif Palace this morning His Excellency the First Deputy Premier and Minister of Foreign Affairs Sheikh Sabah Al Khalid Al Hamad Al Sabah, along with the GCC Secretary General Abdul Latif bin Rashid Al Zayani. They briefed His Highness the Emir on the subjects on the agenda of the forthcoming 35th session of the GCC Supreme Council, due to convene on Tuesday in the Qatari capital Doha. The meeting was attended by the Deputy Minister of Amir Diwan Affairs Sheikh Ali Jarrah Al Sabah. His Highness the Emir, Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah, sent a cable of condolences to His Majesty King Philippe of Belgium on the demise of the late Her Majesty Queen Fabiola, the widow of King Baudouin. His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Nawaf Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah sent a cable of condolences to His Majesty King Philippe of Belgium on the demise of the late Her Majesty Queen Fabiola, the widow of King Baudouin. His Highness Sheikh Jaber Al Mbarak Al Hamad Al Sabah, the Prime Minister, also sent a similar cable of condolences. His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Nawaf Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah received at Sif Palace this morning His Excellency the National Assembly Speaker Marzouk Ali Al Ghanem. His Highness the Crown Prince then received His Highness Sheikh Jaber Al Mbarak Al Hamad Al Sabah, the Prime Minister. His Highness the Crown Prince also received His Excellency the First Deputy Premier and Minister of Foreign Affairs Sheikh Sabah Al Khalid Al Hamad Al Sabah. His Highness then received the Deputy Premier and Minister of Interior Sheikh Mohammed Khalid Al Hamad Al Sabah. His Highness later received His Excellency the Deputy Premier and Minister of Defence Sheikh Khalid Al-Jarrah Al-Sabah. His Highness the Crown Prince also received His Excellency the Minister of Information and Minister of State for Youth Affairs Sheikh Salman Sabah Al-Salim Al-Hamoud Al-Sabah. Finally, His Highness the Crown Prince received His Excellency the Minister of State for Cabinet Affairs Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah Mubarak Al-Sabah. A joint meeting was held today between the National Assembly and the Government under the chairmanship of the National Assembly Speaker Marzouk Al-Ghanem, in which the decline of the oil prices and its impact on the country's economy were extensively discussed. The meeting was attended by the Minister of Finance Anas Al-Saleh, the Minister of Oil and Minister of State for National Assembly Affairs Dr. Ali Al-Amir, the Minister of State for Cabinet Affairs Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah Mubarak Al-Sabah, and a number of National Assembly members. In a statement after the meeting, Deputy Ahmed Ghalibi said it was important to understand the reasons for the sudden drop in oil prices and its impact on the state's budget and how the government can make up the deficit in the budget. He added that the government was not blamed for any failure in this particular field. However, it needed more time to provide the House members with answers to their questions. He pointed out that another meeting will be held at a later date to further discuss this subject. The National Assembly Speaker Marzouk Al-Ghanem opened today the first of a number of seminars designed to study and revise the Municipality Law No. 5 for the year 2005, which is being organised by the Committee of Public Utilities in the National Assembly. Speaker Al-Ghanem underlined the importance of benefiting from the knowledge of experienced people in order to be able to reach the proper and comprehensive solutions to any issues of specialised character. He pointed out that the municipality was facing many problems, primarily on the intermingled authorities, which hinder its work, necessitating the means to clear this intermingling in order to guarantee smooth performance by the municipality departments. A number of National Assembly members are taking part in the debate sessions, along with the Minister of Communications and Minister of State for Municipality Affairs, Isa Al-Kandari, members of the municipal councils, and a number of experts. The First Deputy Premier and Minister of Foreign Affairs Sheikh Sabah Al-Khalid Al-Hamoud Al-Sabah received today the Ambassador of the Republic of Sudan to the State of Kuwait, Yahya Abdul Jalil, on the end of his tenure in the country. The First Deputy Premier and Minister of Foreign Affairs praised the efforts made by Ambassador Abdul Jalil during his service in Kuwait and hailed his contributions to the consolidation of the distinct relations between the two brotherly countries. The meeting was attended by the Director of the First Deputy Premier and Foreign Minister's Office, Sheikh Dr. Ahmed Nasser Mohammed Al-Sabah, and a number of Foreign Ministry officials. The First Deputy Premier and Minister of Foreign Affairs also received today the Ambassador of the Republic of Kenya to the State of Kuwait, Ali Abbas Ali, who presented him with a copy of his credentials as the Ambassador of his country to the State of Kuwait. The meeting was attended by the Under-Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Khalid Sulaiman Jarallah, the Director of the First Deputy Premier and Foreign Minister's Office, Ambassador Sheikh Dr. Ahmed Nasser Mohammed Al-Sabah, the Director of the Protocol Department, Ambassador Ajil Al-Ajran, and a number of senior officials from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The Deputy Premier and Minister of Defence, Sheikh Khalid Al-Jarrah Al-Sabah, discussed with the Commander of the Special Operations Forces in the U.S. Central Command, Major General Michael Nagata, a number of issues of mutual interest to both countries. A statement released by the Moral Guidance Department at the Ministry of Defence said the talks also covered military cooperation in the meeting with General Nagata, who was accompanied by the U.S. Ambassador to the State of Kuwait, Douglas Silliman. Sheikh Khalid Al-Jarrah praised the existing strong relations between the two friendly countries and their keenness to further promote their relations in different fields. The meeting was attended by the Army Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Mohammed Khalid Al-Khidr, the Assistant Army Chief of Staff for Intelligence Affairs and Security, Major General Abdurrahman Hadhoud, the Assistant Army Chief of Staff for Supplies, Major General Lafi Rashid Al-Azmi, and the Director of Planning and Organisation, Colonel Walid Al-Sardi. Arab and European countries, alarmed at the steady rise of tension in Palestine, are pushing Israelis and Palestinians towards a final resolution through pushing for a successful return to the table of negotiations to recognize the Palestinian state and end the Israeli occupation within a given time frame through the Arab-backed draft resolution to be presented at the Security Council. More in this report by Fatma Abdel Karim in Ramallah.
Arab and European countries are pushing the Israelis and Palestinians towards a final settlement based on the Arab-backed draft resolution to bring back both parties to the table of negotiations and agree on a final withdrawal plan of Israel to 1967 borders, with the recognition of the Palestinian state within those borders within a determined time frame.
The United States, as the sole chaperone or sole intervener in the negotiations, have really failed to put sufficient pressure to make this thing work. And therefore, the Security Council is needed to devise a new paradigm and new parameters for the negotiations. And that will determine a final date for the withdrawal of the Israelis from our country, the end of their occupation, that states the international terms of reference on the borders of 1967 with East Jerusalem, our capital.
The new Arab draft resolution to be presented at the Security Council is seen as a new peace initiative, which has better chances of achieving results and could do better than the US administration, which is busy with other issues. But at the same time, the steady uptick of tensions across the Palestinian territories is alarming and should be considered a driving force to push for peace efforts, according to officials.
Many conferences are held urging these countries to contribute to making peace, advancing the peace process by recognizing the state of Palestine, and thus help, and if there is a peace conference, as the French government is thinking of holding sometime next year, or probably in September of 2015, that will contribute, the recognition of Palestine will contribute immensely for the success of such a conference.
Efforts are underway at the UN Security Council to push the draft resolution adopted by the Arab League last week. The resolution is also backed by European powers, mainly Britain, France and Germany, who are also pushing for setting a 2-year deadline for negotiations process culminating in a recognized Palestinian state. The absence of a constructive role by the US in the Israeli-Palestinian peace process is prompting Arabs and Europeans to jump in to de-escalate the accumulating tension in the Palestinian territories. But the question remains, how are their prospects any better with the right-wing government in Israel? Fatma Abdel Karim, Kuwait TV, Ramallah, Palestine.
IS gunmen kidnapped and killed 16 members of an Iraqi tribe which has fought the militant group in the western province of Anbar. The bodies were transferred to a hospital in Heat, where a doctor said they had bullet wounds to the head and chest. IS militants have killed hundreds of members of the Al-Bunimr tribe since seizing control of Heat, about 150 kilometers west of Baghdad 2 months ago. Elsewhere in Iraq, a roadside bomb exploded in a popular market in Mahmoudiyah, about 30 kilometers south of Baghdad, killing 4 people. Syrian troops have repelled an attack by the IS militant group on a key military airport in the eastern Deir ez-Zor province. The IS had withdrawn to the edges of the base a day after managing to seize a southeastern part of the complex. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said more than 100 militants had been killed in fighting for the base since Wednesday, when they launched an operation to try to take the airport. The IS militant group has been under pressure from US airstrikes in Syria since September, but that hasn't stopped it from launching attacks. 2 hostages being held by Al-Qaeda militants in Yemen were killed during a US military raid that failed on Friday. A US official said American photojournalist Luke Summers and South African Pierre Corky were shot and killed in the compound by militants as the operation was taking place. The US says the raid in southern Yemen was launched because they believed there was an immediate threat to Summers' life. The relief group Gift of the Givers had hoped to secure Corky's release soon, saying that they had recently told Corky's wife that he would be home for Christmas. At least one of 43 Mexican students who went missing in Guerrero State has been identified from charred remains. A relative said the family had received the information from a team of forensic experts. The steeds were allegedly seized by local police in the town of Iguala in September and given to a criminal gang. The students' disappearance has triggered widespread protests across Mexico against corruption and violence. Typhoon Hagupit is sweeping across the eastern Philippines, toppling trees and power lines and threatening coastal areas with a powerful sea surge. More than 500,000 people have fled coastal villages in the area, which was still recovering from Typhoon Hainan last year. In Tacloban, where thousands were killed by Haiyan, roofs have been blown away and streets are flooded. But Hagupit doesn't appear to have been as severe as many had feared. Displaced villagers were asked to return home from emergency shelters in provinces where the danger posed by the typhoon weakened, including Albay, where more than 500,000 people were advised to leave evacuation sites. In celebration of the United Arab Emirates' 43rd National Day, Kuwait participated through a huge celebration at Kuwait Towers site organised by Kuwait's Ministry of State for Youth Affairs. The ceremony included many military and folkloric presentations with officials and diplomats' attendance, including a large number of UAE community. Here is more on the event in this report by Salim Al-Kindari.
Sponsored by the Ministry of State for Youth Affairs, this ceremony, which lasted nearly 6 hours and mixed with feelings of love and brotherhood, with both official and public extensive presence of Kuwaiti citizens and UAE community in Kuwait.
It is with great honor that I am present here today in the official and public ceremonies in which Kuwait is attempting to join our brothers in the UAE to celebrate the 43rd anniversary. Some may ask why we did this year. Simply because even though all GCC countries are brothers and we view them and value them and love them equally, the United Arab Emirates has been over or has done over and above anything that brotherly ties require them to do, and this is a public show of affection towards our brothers in the UAE, notwithstanding our love and affection for every other GCC country, and we hope to be able to achieve the same type of celebrations for other friendly and brotherly countries. Specifically, that Kuwait has now been named the humanitarian center of the world, and this is part of how we want to express ourselves.
First of all, we want to thank Kuwait for this celebration of our National Day. It's more than beautiful and wonderful with us. We also want to thank you for accepting our events like the National Day.
This grand celebration was a clear recognition and love of the Kuwaiti people for the people of the UAE and all the Gulf nations. This event is all about another celebration of the United Arab Emirates National Day. There are various celebrations going on in Kuwait on this occasion. From next to Kuwait Towers, this is Salim Al-Kindari reporting for the English News.
Kuwait's third National Arabian Horse Festival concluded last night, which was attended by large international and local attendance and considered a big successful festival. The event was organised by Kuwait's Hunting and Equestrian Club and Kuwait Arabian Horse Society, supported by Beit Al Arab Kuwait Stud. The show is affiliated with the European Conference of Arabian Horse Organizations, or the ECAHO, as an international bee show. Here is more on the event in this report by Salim Al-Kindari.
With the kind sponsorship of His Highness the Crown Prince, Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah, Kuwait's third National Arabian Horse Championship was organized by the Hunting and Equestrian Club here in Kuwait.
This is the first championship this is the Kuwait First Nationals under the sponsor of His Highness the Crown Prince of Kuwait, Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah. And this championship goes, the top 5 goes to the International Championship, which is under His Highness the Emir of Kuwait. So it's a big event. This is the Kuwait's Nationals, and in February we'll have the Internationals, hopefully.
We have long tradition to breed Arabian horses Every year we are preparing Polish national championships and auction. For auction come people from every country and from Kuwait too. I think that horses are very good preparing, in good condition, and some are very good, very typey and nice.
Fantastic horses. From the beginning we didn't think it would be so high quality. In the end it's turned out to be fantastic horses, so I think it's going to be hard for the judges to get the right horse, because it's very equal for the owners and for the horses. I start coming 3 months before the show to start preparing the horses conditioning wise and start to get them in a good body wise. It's a long time for training the horses. It's like with an athletic people who go to the Olympic. They need to have good muscles, a good top line, and it's a lot of months training.
The championship was open to purebred Arabian horses that were registered in Kuwait Arabian Horse Registry without any required qualifications. As we saw in this report, those are beautiful original Arabian horses with Egyptian blood. They are well taken care of in order to compete in such national and also international competitions. From the Hunting and Equestrian Club, this is Salim Kenderi reporting for the English News.
The main indices of the Kuwait Stock Exchange remained bearish throughout today's session, with the benchmark upon closing shedding 26.6 points, dropping to 6,749 points. The weighted index lost 3.72 points and the KSX 15 11.5 points. The KSX 15 index reflects the trades in blue chips. Meanwhile, value of traded stocks reached 8.9 million Kuwaiti dinars, volume of traded shares 96.8 million, and a number of deals 2,423. For a chance to see our reports again, please visit our YouTube channel at MOI Kuwait News. And to recap tonight's news, here are the headlines once again. His Highness the Emir receives the GCC Secretary General, who briefed him on the topics on the agenda of the forthcoming GCC summit. A joint meeting between the government and Parliament discusses the impact of the drop in oil prices on the state's budget. Syrian government warplanes carry out at least 8 strikes against the IS militant group, attacking a key military airbase in eastern Syria. And Typhoon Hangupit knocks out power, leaving at least 3 people dead and sending nearly 900,000 into shelters. Thank you for joining us.